Hello, this is Terry. Welcome back to my channel. This is probably about the 5th time I've taped this tonight, and I'm not sure what's going on, whether it's YouTube or my phone, because I've been having issues with the phone, but I'm also having issues with YouTube. So, I'm going to try this again. What I wanted to talk about was outlining. Now, I'm a pantser. We discussed this in a previous post on pantsers versus plotters, and I'm a pantser. Now, I have been looking into outlining. Several people have encouraged me to go for it. I know I'm in a position of starting many stories, books, whatever you want to call them. I'm used to writing short stories, so that's usually what I think of. So I have started many novels and not gotten very far in them, and I don't know if an outline would have made a big difference in that or not. I started reading Save the Cat Writes a Novel by Jessica Brody, and I have to admit that got my heart pounding a little bit. The anxiety started rising. I find the situation a little scary, and I'm sure if I do one and make it through, that doing another one won't be quite as difficult. But I'm finding the whole idea of outlining to be very difficult. I haven't outlined anything except back in high school in the early 1970s when I wrote term papers, and outlining was a requirement of the project. They were very simple outlines though. What I'm finding here on Authortube, and I have watched video after video after video of people's ideas on how to outline a novel. Some of them offer copies of the pages they use. A lot of them call them workbooks or whatever you want to call them. They offer those pages, and I printed them out and looked at them. I'm like, wow, I'm not sure this is for me. I mean, I'm getting anxious, and I haven't even done anything but read the first page on character building. I mean, when I write a short story, and as a pantser, I just write. I don't think about what they look like unless it's part of the story. I don't care how tall they are. Don't worry about their wants, their needs. There's a lot of things. I was amazed at just how much goes into plotting a story. And I mean, I just figured I could go ahead and write a book. I write stories, so why can't I write a book? Well, maybe it's not as easy as I thought. Maybe that's why I'm not getting any further than I thought, because I'm just not going about it the right way. Now, there are some people out there who do still use a fairly simple outline, and that may be the way I should try starting out, is with a simple outline. Like I said, I have listened to and watched a lot of videos on outlining, and some of them are really fancy. Some of them are color-coded. Each character has its own color. They have matching pens. They have matching washi tape, which is a fancy masking tape in many colors, sizes. You can get them patterned. You know, you don't have to get solid colors. You get a patterned washi tape. There are many, many different ones to choose from, probably thousands that you could choose from. And you know, and they color code everything. And one girl uses index cards. She can't buy those colors, so she makes them out of cardstock, which is actually a great idea, actually, if you think about it. And of course, she needs a white pen to write on the darker colors, because a regular pen wouldn't show up on a dark card. And depending on the amount of characters you have, you need a lot of colors. And you have to have all the matching pens, and I guess you could probably use matching pencils if you wanted to. And you know, you start out with your character page, and put the washi tape on there for that color, you know, whatever color that character is. And then when you start writing the plot points, you know, each character has their own color pen that as you're writing down, you know, your list of plot points for each chapter or section of your book or act of your book, if you use the 3-act formula of writing a book, which I believe Save the Cat Writes a Novel is the 3-act version of book outlining. A lot of people use that. I'm not really familiar with it, so again, you know, I start reading this stuff and I start to get a little anxious. I also found out a lot of people use tarot cards to predict different plots in their stories, and I find that a little strange. I've had tarot readings. I've had tarot cards. I've read the book. It's very subjective. So if you were to ask, you know, where your character's going next, and you pull a card and you look at it and you read what it says, well, different people are going to get different ideas out of that card. Then, you know, they're not all going to be the same. It's a subjective way of dealing with a plot point, I think. I won't say never. I never say never, because maybe I'll decide to try that someday. It's certainly a different way of doing it. Maybe it helps. I am so confused right now with everything I've seen and read on outlining. I have so many novels I started but never finished, and part of the problem might just be I really need to outline them. When you're pantsing a novel, you just write, and when you get to a certain point and you don't know where to go, you stop while you think about it. If you've already plotted it out, then you've got something to work from. But I'm sure that as you're plotting it out, you run into the same issues where you're not sure where exactly you're going to go, and you know, you end up stopping anyhow while you're plotting. So I don't think there's any way of getting around that particular issue. It's just the way you handle it. And if you plot it, your whole story out, and halfway through you decide, oh, I got a better idea. Well, if I'm pantsing a novel, I just have to delete what I wrote and start writing from that point on the new story that came into my head. But if I plotted it all out, I'd have to change the outline. And that just seems like a lot of work for every time you have an idea change. So I'm not sure about that point of being a plotter, because of that as being one reason. And the other, the fact of the anxiety over trying to follow a formula that's set up. And I realized that from what Save the Cat Writes a Novel, she says in there that, you know, if you go back to most books and even movies, that you find those 15 beats, I think they call them, that most people write that. I mean, it's a tried and true way of writing a novel, and they've been doing it for hundreds of years, and maybe not even thinking about it, just, you know, that's how they did it. And I who am I to argue with people who, you know, plot their novels all the time and have great success at it? I only know my feelings, and that I've been a pantser, and I know that there are plenty of famous novelists out there who are pantsers. They're not all plotters. I believe Stephen King is a pantser, and he writes wonderful novels. You don't have to have an outline, you just have to have the words. That's what makes a story, the words. But how you lay the words out seems to make a difference. and I'm just not familiar with that procedure. And like I said, I've been out of school for a long time. My grammar is suffering. I have problems with tenses. I have problems naming my characters. I have problems with commas. I have run-on sentences. I have just about everything, the adverb problem going, all the things that they tell you not to do, I do. And so I have a lot to learn. So I'm going to finish, of course, reading Save the Cat Writes a Novel to get a better idea. I'm going to finish reading, listening to other videos on how they plot novels, see if I get any insight into this whole thing and whether I want to change from being a pantser to a plotter. I know I'm not getting anywhere the way I'm writing currently. I have a lot of novels I started, but none I finished. I don't know if that means anything or not in the scheme of things. I mean, I have a bad habit of abandoning things if I just don't feel like doing it anymore. It has nothing to do with whether I plotted it out or writing from the seat of my pants or whatever I'm doing. That's a personal issue that I deal with, that, I get to a point where I'm just not interested anymore and I can't go any further. I am now getting all my old ones together and I'm putting them in files. I'm making sure all new ideas have their own Word document, Microsoft Word document. I'm going through my blog, getting ideas. Some of them can be put together. Some of them are separate stories altogether. But I've got a lot of blog left to go through. And of course, I have to fix the blog as I'm going along because I can't leave mistakes and I can't leave the broken links. A lot of those websites are no longer active, so I have to take them out. And if I'm on the page, I might as well go ahead and take care of it while I'm there. So that process is getting longer than I planned on it being. And some things I'm just plain deleting because after I reread it, I'm like, I don't like that. That's not what I want to be representing me. So I'm deleting things that I think are no longer valid. They were written as prompts, and some of them are really pretty silly when I read back over them now. So if they don't pass my now test, they're history. I mean, I still have over 500 and some posts on just the one blog alone, and I haven't even touched the other one yet, and that one's huge. So I've got a lot of ideas. I also don't write in a specific genre. I know a lot of people tend to stay in a genre, whereas I don't. I write what I feel. I've got romance. I've got not historical. I don't like historical. I don't like fantasy. I have romance. I have thrillers, mysteries, horror, things I've started. Heck, my nightmares scare me. So I have a lot to work with, and I'm busy trying to make some sense out of everything and fix a filing system so I can find these documents so I can work on them. And if I want to work on more than one at a time, well, it's just the way I operate. I sometimes I get bored. I have a focus problem, and this all comes together to cause problems. So I'm going to think about this plotting issue and whether I want to start trying to outline or not. And so if you like my videos, please like, also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notification the next time I post a video. I try to post videos once or twice a week. I do my best. Right now I'm dealing with issues with the camera and the YouTube and and whatnot, and sometimes coming up with a topic is difficult. So I want all of you to try and be safe. I know these are trying times, and so far nobody in my family is sick. My dad's in a nursing home and he's been tested negative twice. They just did a third round and we haven't heard anything, so all I can do is assume that he's still negative. They said they will call anybody, you know, the family of the sick people. So far, he's still negative as far as I know. But those of you, you know, who have family members, my heart goes out to you, and I pray for them. And so, until next time, be safe. Bye-bye.